I've been an entrepreneur for more than 9 years. I've had 11 plus failed businesses across numerous models. Tried drop shipping, SMMA, service-based businesses, SaaS. And what I've realized is that there are only 3 things that predict whether or not you are going to stay in business for the long run and actually succeed. First, what we need to go over are a few truths, okay? The truths that we need to discuss are that most people believe that the reason why their businesses fail are because of the model, because of the idea. They believe that the reason why their business fails is because of saturation in the market. Another one that I've heard, which is so fucking ridiculous, is that I'm too early. Oh, my solution is fucking ridiculous. It's revolutionary. It's life-changing, but I'm just too early. People aren't ready for it yet. But what I've realized after failure and failure and failure is that if you keep telling yourself these lies, if you keep telling yourself that the business model is flawed, that the idea was just flawed to begin with, that the market is too saturated, that your niche is just not big enough, that your TAM, your total adjustable market, is too small for you to actually make any viable amount of money. If you lie to yourself, you tell yourself this over and over again, you will never be able to succeed, because all of these things evade one thing and one thing only, and that is accountability. All of these statements are effectively evasions of accountability, and you understand that the real reason why you're not succeeding is because it's you. You as an individual are incompetent. Not only that, you don't understand the 3 things we're about to discuss. The first thing is prioritization. Now, prioritization is one of the most important skills in business. It can also be called allocation of resources. And the reason why most business owners don't end up succeeding is because they do not allocate resources properly. Now, the specific example that I wish to give you about prioritization is the fact that most entrepreneurs do not prioritize what we call highest impact tasks. So these are called hits. Now, the antonym of hit is actually a miss. So if you're not having hit after hit after hit, you're missing. And if you have consecutive miss after miss after miss in your business is eventually going to plateau and fail. What you want to do instead is you want to understand that every single entrepreneur, this is without exception, always has some sort of avoidance when it comes to doing the highest impact tasks. They're always taking up their time doing shit that doesn't actually move the needle forward. Like, for example, watching this video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I understand I'm a very charismatic individual. I'm very passionate about what I'm saying. I'm telling you truths that you've never heard of before. But I'm not as important as your business. And neither is the bullshit that you do that you write off as work. And this might not just be watching videos. This might not be the research that you tell your team you're doing. I'm doing market research. I was watching my competitors' videos. It might not be that. You know what it also might be? It might be the landing page you're working on. Why are you working on another landing page? It might be the VSL you're working on. It could be anything. I want you to really think in your mind, what are the tasks that I've worked on in the past day, in the past week, in the past quarter? Are those tasks the most important, highest impact tasks that I could have done? The highest impact task that you can do in your business at any time is the one that generates the clearest and the highest ROI. If your tasks are not generating a clear, high ROI, you are missing out. And how do you actually understand whether or not your tasks are going to generate you a high ROI? Is by asking yourself 2 questions. There's a third one, but for most people, only the first 2 matter. The first question you want to ask yourself is, will this task result in me getting more customers? So if you get more customers from a certain task, it means that this task is indeed a high impact task. If you have multiple, let's say I have task 1, task 2, task 3, which one of these is going to get me the most amount of customers? Which one of them is the most likely to get me the most amount of customers? If it's 3, then you do 3. If it's 1, then you do 1, etc., etc. The second question you want to ask yourself, which is another very important question, is, will this make my customers worth more? So your customers will be worth more as a result of whatever action you're taking. Now, this can mean that you're increasing the LTV of your customers. If your customers are churning out, they're only staying for 2-3 months, or they're not buying your services again and again and again, how can you do a certain task that makes it so that the customers that you are engaging with pay you more over the lifetime of those customers? That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make customers worth more. The third question, which is another bonus question, is, as I mentioned before, is for higher level entrepreneurs. It's just EV. So EV is not electric vehicle. EV stands for enterprise value. Enterprise value is essentially the aggregate value of your company as a whole. Now, for example, let's say I have a SaaS business. This SaaS business is, it's having a lot of customers. The customers are worth a lot, but me as an individual, I'm the face of the business. This means that the business has key man risk. If the business has key man risk, it's not going to be very sellable. The actual enterprise value, which is what somebody is going to be willing to pay for that business, is going to be less. Now, I can work on actually moving myself out of the advertising, out of the delivery, out of the content, out of whatever it is. This will reduce my key man risk, and therefore it will increase the enterprise value of the company because more people will be willing to buy it. And these are literally the only three things that you can actually do in business. If you're doing anything else that does not either get you more customers, make them worth more, or increase your enterprise value, you are not doing anything. And the problem with most people is not only do they not do highest impact tasks, they avoid them. Right now, I am telling you, there is a task that you are avoiding that is the secret to unlocking the next 20, 30, 40, 50% jump in revenue that you require to get to the next level. But you are avoiding that task for some reason. You are filling the time in which you should be doing this task with other things that are redundant. And a lot of times it's actually looking for this task. Sometimes people know what they need to do. Sometimes you need to hire the sales team. You need to get an assistant. You need to buy back your time. But you still look for solutions. And in looking for solutions, you lie to yourself. Tell yourself that I haven't found a solution yet. This information gathering mode that you're stuck in is what keeps you from growing. The second thing that we need to discuss is that you don't get much done in the time that you work. So first we discussed the macro, right? We're looking on a wider lens. We're seeing that, okay, you're not actually doing the things that matter. But in the time that you actually work, let's say you work for 5-6 hours a day, whatever the amount of time is that you work, you don't get much done in that time either. And again, this relates back to the same exact things I said. It's about information gathering. You're always stuck in this mode where you're telling yourself that you're doing research, you're doing this, you're doing that, or you're actually just not working. This is a taboo that nobody talks about. We're all talking about, oh my God, I'm a big boss. I can do more work than anybody in this industry. But a lot of people are literally sitting at their desk. They're checking their emails, checking their socials, checking their Slack. They're actually just not working. They're literally pretending to work. I mean, do you understand this? They're pretending. They're faking it. And the worst part is because they're entrepreneurs, because there's no hierarchy above them, there's nobody above them to keep them accountable. Who do you think they answer to? They answer to nobody. They started their businesses for freedom. That's what they lie to themselves with. They say that I did this for freedom. Freedom to do jack shit? Freedom to do nothing? Freedom to lie to yourself and tell yourself that you're working when you're not? It's a fucking tragedy. The way that you actually solve this is you want to audit, right? So you want to audit every single distraction that you think you have. And this distraction can literally be your phone. It can be the SMS app on your phone. It might not be Facebook. It might not be Instagram. It might not be LinkedIn. It might not be any of these social platforms. You know what it might be? It might be your Slack channel. The little, hey, you got a minute? All those little questions that your team asks you for your time, for your attention, that diversify your focus. All of these issues result in you not actually doing much in the time that you actually work. Once you audit, all you got to do is eliminate. You don't need to add. You don't need anything additional. You don't need a productivity system. You need something gone. Everybody thinks they need to add. They need to eliminate. Once you eliminate the things that are distracting you from actually doing work in that time, all you will have left to do is work. You can actually focus on the highest impact tasks. And another issue that I see a lot is people that write off work as perfectionism. They say, oh, if it's worth doing well. And because of this, they focus for 8 damn hours on one tiny little detail, trying to perfect the crap out of it. And then they look at their day, they look at the clock, and lo and behold, everything's gone. It's all done. And that's why I love this saying. It says that perfectionism is procrastination. In reality, that's all it is. But what it does, the trick with perfectionism is that it masquerades, it pretends to be quality control. You're telling yourself, I'm just trying to make sure that the best thing comes out of this company. I'm trying to make sure that the best damn thing happens when I do my damn work. You're just procrastinating all the other shit by telling yourself that you're trying to maintain quality. Business loves speed. If you cannot operate quickly, if you cannot operate fast, and you want to write that off as perfectionism, go right ahead. But in business, you got to choose. You got to choose if you want to be rich or if you want to be a perfectionist. Another thing that is a big issue is preparation. Everybody wastes so much time preparing for the actual thing as opposed to actually doing it. Let's say recording content. Oh, let me write out this script. Let me actually, you know what I want to do? I want to buy this camera and I want this meeting room to be absolutely perfect before we have. Why don't you actually do the thing that you're trying to do? Stop preparing. Stop, again, being a perfectionist when it comes to starting things and actually start them. And the thing is, a lot of entrepreneurs have learned this lesson already. They just fail to apply it within their business. Everybody who's in the business world understands the importance of just starting, but most entrepreneurs have learned that lesson first. They learn that lesson when they're starting their company, when they're actually launching their company. A lot of entrepreneurs regret not launching sooner, but then they make the same exact mistake of over-preparing, when in reality, all they have to do is just start the work that they're focusing on. The third thing, and the most important thing, is accountability. Now, accountability is something that we've touched on before. We've talked about how the lack of accountability is the biggest problems that most entrepreneurs face because in the hierarchy of business, this is where they are as the founder or the CEO. Mentality-wise, obviously, they're just either glorified freelancers, they're employees with LLCs, or they're literally just their own assistants. And because they tell themselves that nobody's above them, they love the fact that there is no individual, there is no hierarchy that can suppress what it is they're doing. In reality, what it is just an evasion of accountability. They understand how important it is for them to keep their team accountable, everybody who's underneath them. But when it comes to them actually focusing on the highest impact tasks, when it comes to them actually getting more done in the time that they work, instead of doing nothing at all, writing it off as procrastination or preparation. Instead of doing that, actually being held accountable to the fact that they should be doing something that is actually either going to get them more customers, make their customers worth more, or increase the enterprise value of their business. The easiest way that a founder or a CEO can actually get accountability is number one, by hiring an assistant. Now, this has one caveat, which is somewhat of an issue. But all you want to some degree is some sort of observation. Because a lot of times what happens with most entrepreneurs is that even though they might have a team, even though they might have business partners, they're stuck in this circle of isolation. And because they're stuck in the circle of isolation, it gets to them mentally. And being in that state for long periods of time results in them actually developing these traits, these habits of not actually pulling through, of not focusing on high impact tasks, of not getting work done. When you have an assistant, you actually have somebody observing you. You know, you can't just make commitments to yourself in your brain, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then not do it. But the thing is, the problem with having an assistant is that it's somebody that's number one, internal. You want external accountability, and assistant is still internal to some degree. And the second problem is that they fall lower to you in the hierarchy. So an assistant is down here, they're underneath you. You can fire your assistant. You view your assistant as somebody who works for you. They're part of your team. You're meant to be keeping them accountable. It's not supposed to be the other way around. They're supposed to manage your tasks, yes. They're supposed to take stuff off your plate, but it's not necessarily their job to keep you accountable. The second thing that you can actually do is you can get a business coach. And this is the route that a lot of large publicly traded companies take with their founders and entrepreneurs. Mark Zuckerberg is a good example. So Zuckerberg, the person who owns all of our ad accounts, had an old lady as a business coach. And the thing is, it's not really even about the business knowledge. Yes, you can bounce your ideas off your business coach. Your business coach can be like, they can act as kind of like a wall between you and stupidity if you think that you go too far. But a lot of times it's not about having somebody tell you about the business part of the coaching is just to keep you accountable. And by the way, if you don't believe me, there's literally people in the info industry, there's people that are making content that you're consuming their content online that literally understand this. And the funny part is these are literally the same people that sell courses. They sell business knowledge. They sell masterminds. They sell, take a look.
To your point, even of alternative education in general, when you say, hey, you could learn this stuff on YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. The issue that we're solving for is not that it's not a knowledge gap. The issue is an accountability gap, is that people don't do stuff. Like that is the primary issue with all humans in general, is that they will not endure short-term discomfort for a long-term achievement. That is it. You hack that, you hack success. That's all it is.
Sam Ovens.
We know what to do, but we can't do it because we don't have anyone observing us and anyone holding us accountable.
Iman Ghazi.
When you have someone looking at your stats, when you have weekly accountability calls, when you have that, it's like there's no running anywhere. You know what I mean? Like you can't hide. And this is such an important part. To me, this is the most important part of your business outside of your business.
All these people that are selling you information, they're selling you masterminds, they're selling you courses, are doing what? Installing systems of accountability so that they can actually focus on highest impact tasks, get a lot done in the time that they actually work, and actually grow when it comes to doing business. And they've sold you on this lie of you needing the next latest tactic or the next latest strategy that you don't have yet. But even they understand that accountability is the missing piece of the puzzle. Zuckerberg, as I mentioned before, had a coach. The main reason why was for accountability. But the third option that a lot of people don't even know is available is just having an accountability coach. What are the benefits of having an accountability coach? Number one, they're not internal. If you have somebody who's internal, as we mentioned, like the assistant, like the EA or like the PA or whatever it is, because they're underneath you in the hierarchy, in the business hierarchy, you listening to what they're telling you to do doesn't really make sense. The second benefit of having a dedicated accountability coach is that they don't tell you how to do business. And I promise you, until you tell yourself that you just need to do the shit that you already know is going to make you money by getting you more customers, making them worth more, or increasing your enterprise value, until you understand that one objective baseline truth, that first objective principle in entrepreneurship, you will not be able to move forward. If you keep telling yourself, no, I need a business coach, I need a course, I need a mastermind. If you keep telling yourself all these things, you will be pushed in multiple different directions. Let me tell you exactly why. Because every single individual has a different way of doing business. Some person will say, oh, you should only have a personal brand. Some people will say you should only run ads. Some people, literally people with billions of dollars, I want to emphasize this, people with billions of dollars disagree on what to do when it comes to business. They disagree on what paths to take. They disagree on what industries will last. There is disagreement. There is a difference of opinion when it comes to all businessmen around the world. If you're buying different courses, if you're buying masterminds, if you're buying all these things, yes, don't get me wrong, the information in them is actually useful, but you're pulled around in all these different directions. Actually, it is the business part of the business coaching. It is the course. It is the mastermind, which is the issue. One mastermind is telling you to do one thing, the other one's telling you to do another. They take up so much of your time when it comes to consuming information. They literally break all the principles that I've talked about. Number one, there's no accountability. You're surrounded by people, nobody's holding you accountable. In a mastermind, in a course, because it's simply just information. The second thing, it disallows you from actually getting much done in the time that you're working. So when you sit down, you have all this course material that you can consume and you can write that off as working. And worst of all, it disallows you from prioritizing the right thing because it puts so many options in front of you. Whereas if you just realize that all you have to do is follow a singular path, stay accountable to that path, be on that road for long enough, you will eventually hit your business goals and actually fulfill the commitment that you make to yourself as an entrepreneur, that you make to yourself every day, every week, every hour. Until you realize how important it is to fulfill that commitment, you will never be able to move forward. But a dedicated accountability coach solves all those problems because not only are they external, not only do they not tell you how to do business, not only do they realize when you're being pulled in different directions as an entrepreneur, they focus on the only three things that matter. The thing you're doing, is it going to make you money? Is it going to get you more customers? Is it going to make them worth more? Is it going to make your company more valuable? 2, in the time that you're actually working, are you actually getting shit done? Are you actually working on this? 3, are you actually going to do it? Are you going to make sure that you follow through with your commitment? And I'm going to be honest, I'm a little overkill with this. I believe that an accountability coach should be with an entrepreneur 24/7. Yes, they should have weekly check-ins, they should have monthly, quarterly, all that stuff, making sure that you're on track. But an accountability coach should be with you 24/7 while you work. This is exactly what I do, is what all my business partners use. Honestly, I would say that this system that I use every single day is the one thing that has allowed me to have the success I have with this business currently. If you want to see that system, if you want to see how an accountability coach can keep you accountable 24/7, you can click on the link down below. You can find out more information. The last thing I'll leave you is with this. There is an excess of well-informed idea havers. There is an excess of people that have so many directions that they want to take their business into, but they never actually end up moving in those directions. These people are smart, okay? These people are very intelligent. They might as well be theoretical physicists. These people have consumed all the information. They've taken so many courses, they've gone to so many masterminds, and they have so many good ideas. They always know what the next big thing is going to be, what the next shiny object is that lies before them. But you know what there's a scarcity of? You know what's in short supply? It's executors. That's it. People that launch their business. People that don't write off working as perfectionism or watching videos as research. And the only way that you can actually succeed in business in the long run is if you become this individual, not this one. If you like the content, like, subscribe, check out all the other videos. I guess that's it.